Folks, this is Suzanne at NFIB Pennsylvania, and we're just going to give a couple more seconds here to make sure everyone gets on right at 10 o'clock. Bear with us. Okay, now that I'm sure you're all hearing me, I would like to thank you so much for joining our NFIB webinar on how to take advantage of Pennsylvania's Tax Amnesty program. I want you to know you can type in questions. If we don't raise them here, we will email you back with an answer afterward, but just be sure to know that we are not sharing any of our members' names, their company, or any personal information with the Department of Revenue, but we thank Department of Revenue for helping us here. Let's now thank our sponsors. If we could move to the next slide, thank you. They are Members First Federal Credit Union, Capital Blue Cross, and also McNeese, Wallace, and Nurick Law Firm. Our presenters today are first John Kaschak, Deputy Secretary of Taxation at the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. And we also have a presenter who is asking questions today. That would be Warren Hudak. He's an NFIB member. He's an enrolled agent and a tax expert, and he also owns Hudak & Company here in Harrisburg. Warren, why don't we start with you asking John a question? Move the slide forward. Okay, why don't you start it out that way?
John, clearly the most important question is, who is eligible for tax amnesty? And also, can you sum up the program?
Thanks, Warren. So let's get started. The overwhelming majority of taxpayers pay their state taxes on time. Tax amnesty is a limited opportunity for individuals and businesses to pay past due taxes, and the Commonwealth will waive all penalties and half of the interest. Tax amnesty will be offered from April 21st, 2017 through June 19th, 2017. So who is eligible for the amnesty program? Individual and businesses with unpaid or underpaid Pennsylvania taxes as of December 31st, 2015. So for example, the most recent personal income tax return eligible is for tax year 2014. Another example would be sales tax. If you are a quarterly filer and the last eligible period for the quarter ended September 30th, 2015, which is due on October 20th. If you're a monthly filer, the last eligible period would be November 2015, which is due on December 20th. Additionally, taxpayers who fail to file a return or report for periods due on or before December 31st, 2015 are also eligible. Who is not eligible for tax amnesty? Any taxpayer who participated in the 2010 tax amnesty program. Taxpayers under criminal investigation, criminal prosecution, or criminal restitution for allegedly violating a tax law. A taxpayer in bankruptcy, unless the bankruptcy court grants permission, and any taxpayer with a voluntary disclosure agreement for periods eligible for tax amnesty.
Okay, so we know who is eligible, but what types of taxes are we speaking about there? Are there limitations?
Most taxes administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue are eligible for tax amnesty. There are more than 30 in all, including personal income tax, corporate net income tax, sales tax, employer withholding tax, and inheritance tax. Recently enacted taxes subsequent to December 30th, 2015 are not eligible. You can find a complete list of eligible taxes online at revenue.pa.gov. Keep in mind that some taxes are excluded from the program. Taxes administered by other state agencies, for example, unemployment compensation administered by the Department of Labor and Industry, are not included. Other ineligible taxes include taxes administered by another state or local taxes, including property taxes, and federal taxes.
Can you go to the next slide, please?
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
All right.
There are also some restrictions for taxpayers who want tax amnesty. Participants who become delinquent again within 2 years of the program may be required to pay all waived penalties and interest. Taxpayers with liabilities unknown to the Department dating back to January 1st, 2011 must file all delinquent returns and pay the amnesty-eligible taxes and interest before amnesty ends. If a taxpayer wishes to participate, they must withdraw an appeal of a tax liability that is eligible for amnesty filed with the Board of Appeals, the Board of Finance and Revenue, or Commonwealth Court.
Will those in arrears on their taxes be getting notification? And are there consequences if the company does not participate in tax amnesty if they are eligible?
Taxpayers eligible for amnesty will receive a letter and then a phone call if their contact information is available. Additional notification options will be provided closer to the start of the program. What are the penalties for eligible taxpayers who did not participate? A 5% penalty will be added to the eligible liabilities of taxpayers who do not participate, and they may face other enforcement actions as well.
That might be one reason they decide to participate. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So now I've determined I am eligible and want to proceed. What steps do I need to take to apply?
To apply for tax amnesty, a taxpayer must do three things between April 21st, 2017 and June 19th, 2017. First, they must file an amnesty application. Second, file all necessary returns. For example, the 2015 personal income tax return is not eligible for amnesty, but the return must be filed for a taxpayer to participate. And third, taxpayers must pay all tax and required interest by June 19th. Registered taxpayers with known non-filed returns should file those returns prior to April 21st, if possible. Previously non-filed corporation tax returns should be filed on paper using a non-year specific return. This form can be found on the Department's website at revenue.pa.gov. Using an incorrect return may delay your amnesty approval. Taxpayers that are unknown to the Department should first apply for amnesty and then register. Taxpayers can register for all taxes except corporation tax by completing the PA 100 online at pa100.state.pa.us. In order to register a previously unknown corporate taxpayer, please register with the Department of State at dos.pa.gov. You must include the FEIN during registration. Not including the FEIN may delay your amnesty approval.
Now, John, are there any other caveats, any conditions our listeners need to know about? And what if they are refused after applying? Is there a way to appeal?
There are a few important conditions to participate. Taxpayers must agree not to protest or petition for a refund of money paid under the tax amnesty program. Taxpayers cannot receive refunds of penalty or interest paid before tax amnesty. Taxpayers who become delinquent within 2 years may have to pay the interest and penalties waived during tax amnesty. Let's look closer at taxpayers who are appealing a tax liability and want tax amnesty. As mentioned earlier, taxpayers must withdraw an appeal of the eligible liability in order to participate. However, not all appeals must be withdrawn. Only appeals on assessments for liabilities which the taxpayer is seeking tax amnesty must be withdrawn. Again, the taxpayer who applies for tax amnesty waives all future appeal rights for liabilities paid through the amnesty program. Taxpayers that are denied amnesty may file an appeal with the Board of Appeals contesting the denial of amnesty. Additionally, the Voluntary Disclosure Office will remain open and will accept new cases during tax amnesty. Voluntary disclosure is for taxpayers with the tax liabilities that the Department does not know about. By voluntarily coming forward, the penalties are waived if the tax and interest are paid. Taxpayers eligible for both voluntary disclosure and tax amnesty should consider the benefits of both programs before choosing their best option. The Voluntary Disclosure Program does not abate interest, only penalties, but it has a limited look-back and includes the most current periods. Amnesty will abate half of the interest and all of the penalties, but will not include periods due after December 31st, 2015, when abating those penalties and interest.
John, I understand you have some additional information about how many people participated in a program like this 5 years ago, how much money they saved, and that kind of thing. That might be helpful to know.
So let's take a quick look at the last tax amnesty. The 2010 program collected more than $254 million from 59,000 taxpayers. 88% of the participants were from Pennsylvania, and they provided 51% of the revenue. However, 12% of the participants were from out of state, and they provided the other half of the revenue. This map shows the states generating the most revenue. They include New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Florida, Illinois, and Arkansas. Nationwide, 68% of the participants in 2010 were individuals and small businesses, and they provided 25% of the revenue in the 2010 tax amnesty. At the same time, only 21% of the participants were larger businesses, but they contributed 71% of the revenue.
So what's on your website there? I see you have some questions and answers.
Sure. Closer to the start of the program in 2017, you'll be able to find more details at revenue.pa.gov. Common Q&As are available now, and there will also be a dedicated website to Amnesty and a phone number for tax amnesty in the near future.
And it'll tell you how to apply, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
When will we be able to get an application, and when will it be online?
John?
I'm sorry?
When Maureen asked, when will you be able to get that application? When will that be online? Is that out there yet?
I'm sorry. The applications will begin available April 21st, and they'll be available on the Tax Amnesty website. They will not be available before April 21st.
Can you tell us how to figure out our tax obligation online and how much tax is owed?
Sure. Very good question. The department has a website that we call eTides, which is should now be on your screen. At the request of the business community last year, we launched a new feature in eTides that provides businesses and tax professionals an opportunity to get their statement of account online. This process is simple, and all you have to do is log on to eTides to request the statement, which will be available in your eTides account by the next business day. There are step-by-step instructions out on the website for how you can obtain the electronic statement of account. In order to get additional information, you can find the eTides statement of account. The eTides website is etides.state.pa.us.
Great. And if businesses must pay taxes that were outstanding prior to the eligibility period before they can participate in the new amnesty program, how quickly would a business have to do that to get it all submitted and registered with the department so they can still take advantage of tax amnesty?
Businesses with non-filed returns should file those returns before amnesty starts on April 21st, if possible. If you have non-filed corporation tax returns, please file paper returns, again, using a non-year specific return. Some businesses may have tax delinquencies the department does not know about, but they will want to take advantage of amnesty to prevent greater penalty and interest later. In those cases, only the unknown delinquencies dating back to January 1st, 2011 must be filed and paid before the program ends on June 19th.
Okay, well, listen, I want to thank you all for participating, John and Warren for being our presenters. It was a lot of information and rather technical. So what I plan to do is take this recorded webinar and post it on our website, nfib.com/PA. That'll be up by tomorrow. Also, if you have any questions at all and you posted them today, or if you want to email me any questions, we will get them answered in an anonymous way and email you back. I want to thank you all so much for participating and have a great week. Bye-bye.